So I'm sure you know by now that Donald Trump has canceled all debates with Vice President Kamala Harris. Donald Trump was scared and terrified by the momentum and energy and fundraising around Vice President Kamala Harris. He knew she would make a fool of him on the debate stage, so he had his campaign spokesperson, Stephen Chung, put out a statement. Vice President Kamala Harris responded, "What happened to anytime, anywhere, any place? Isn't that what you said, Donald?" But the campaign spokesperson, Stephen Chung, put out this bizarre statement, and he blamed the reason that Donald Trump was canceling the debates, he said, on former President Barack Obama, who they refer to in the statement by the campaign as Barack Hussein Obama. It's a very odd and weird and kind of just racist and xenophobic statement to really showcase just how weird this Trump campaign and MAGA movement is. But now Steve Chung, Donald Trump's campaign spokesperson, is saying this was all part of the plan, and everything's going exactly to plan right now. As our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, wrote, "We just can't keep up with how brilliant and clever this Trump campaign is, and how much their messaging and the people who deliver that message appeal to voters outside their base." Of course, Ron was being sarcastic. Here's what Stephen Chung wrote earlier this morning in response to Bill Gruskin saying, "Really, you're resurrecting calling Barack Obama Hussein Obama? Doesn't that show how deeply shook the Trump people are right now?" To which Stephen Chung, again, that's Donald Trump's campaign spokesperson, said the following. He said, "You idiots fell for the trap. Hussein was trending and was mentioned on cable news throughout the night. Thanks for doing our jobs, cucking his announcement this morning, moron." What are they even talking about? I'll just read you Trump campaign statement, or the Trump campaign statement canceling the debate so you can just see how weird it is. But Stephen Chung says, "You're idiots. We set a trap. You fell for the trap because now when former President Obama endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris, you're now saying the word Hussein." What? Here's the statement from the Trump campaign. "Given the continued political chaos surrounding crooked Joe Biden and the Democrat Party, general election debate details cannot be finalized until Democrats formally decide on their nominee. There is a strong sense by many in the Democrat Party, namely Barack Hussein Obama, that Kamala Harris is a Marxist fraud who cannot beat President Trump, and they are still holding out for someone better. Therefore, it would be inappropriate to schedule things with Harris because Democrats very well could still change their minds." Stephen Chung, Trump campaign communications director. By the way, if you look at Stephen Chung's background, this guy was a failure his entire life who just says whatever Donald Trump wants him to say, and that's how he got that position right there. I'll show you. This is a clip from Stephen Chung back on May 28th of 2024. And here's what he had to say, just so you see the types of statements that are made by this person. Here, play the clip.
"Make no mistake, this is election interference of the highest order. Crooked Joe Biden and his campaign are in complete freakout mode. And that's why they've gone back on the word, and now they've gone in bed with a highly conflicted judge. And now they're making a political mockery of this entire thing. The fact remains that President Trump will overcome. He'll fight these charges up and down, and there's nothing to stop the truth from coming out. Thank you."
Yeah, so that's who's running Donald Trump's communications department. And basically he spends the entire day just making these weird posts at previously the Biden campaign and now Kamala Harris's campaign. Like the Kamala Harris campaign put out this photo, now hanging at what was the Biden headquarters, a California flag, and at Kamala headquarters. And then Stephen Chung says, not a lot of work going on there. And then here there's a photo from Sasha Ingber saying, outside the White House, a handful of people with signs are thanking Biden for his decision to withdraw from the election. And Stephen Chung says, LOL, a handful of people. Stephen Chung posts photos of this, like Montel Williams, who I guess previously dated Vice President Kamala Harris decades and decades ago. That's where they're going with this. I mean, how immature and bizarre. By the way, here is the moment where former President Barack Obama and the former First Lady Michelle Obama endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris. Here, play this clip.
Kamala!
Hello. Hi.
Hey there!
Oh, hi, you're both together. Oh, it's good to hear you both.
I can't have this phone call without saying to my girl Kamala, I am proud of you. This is going to be historic.
We called to say Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Oh my goodness. Michelle, Brock, this means so much to me. I am looking forward to doing this with the two of you, Doug and I both, and getting out there, being on the road. But most of all, I just want to tell you the words you have spoken and the friendship that you have given over all these years mean more than I can express. So thank you both. It means so much. And we're going to have some fun with this too, aren't we?
You know, we can see how desperate the Trump campaign is. And I think, Anthony Scaramucci sums it up best. He says that this campaign is flailing right now, and Donald Trump is hating his VP pick. Here's Donald Trump's former communications director, Anthony Scaramucci. So now Donald Trump has Stephen Chung. He used to have the mooch, Scaramucci. You see the difference here of kind of qualifications here? Play this clip.
That stuff's not landing. I mean, that's helping him with his base, but it's not landing. I know the president very well. He's flailing right now. He hasn't really figured out what punches are going to work. He hasn't come up with a good nickname. His default nickname is lying, like lying Ted Cruz or lying Kamala Harris. So he's flailing right now, and he's got some tips to his personality. When he says someone's doing a fantastic job, it's like George Steinbrenner saying Billy Martin's safe and then 5 days later firing him. Vance is not doing a fantastic job. He knows that. We know that. He hated Vance's speech. He doesn't like Vance's performance on stage. He thinks he's very dull. And from a casting perspective, because Donald Trump is all about casting, J.D. Vance is not living up to the expectations, or at least the expectations that he was told about.
Because here's what people are saying. Like, here is a Pennsylvania voter featured recently on CNN, how Kamala Harris is the right person for this job right now. Here, this is a Pennsylvania voter and describing her experience with other Pennsylvania voters, and particularly women who she talks to. Play this clip.
Now, a new challenge.
She's at the perfect age. She's committed. She's vigorous. And overwhelmingly, the women I talk to are, let's go.
We do a lot every day, and typically at night, I need something to wind down. But I'm sick of all the calories, nasty hangovers, bloating, and other negative health implications that can come with having a glass of wine before bed. That's why I'm obsessed with Sol's new out-of-office THC gummies. Perfectly microdosed to get you blissed, not blitzed. This podcast is sponsored by Sol. Sol's new out-of-office gummies are perfectly microdosed with hemp-derived THC and CBD to give any day that chillin' on the beach vibe. I can't believe I didn't know you could buy THC products online like this. Did you know you can now buy hemp-derived THC products in all 50 states? The out-of-office gummies help you get that much-needed me time at the end of the day or during the day. They're convenient and delicious. Out-of-office gummies give you that warm, fuzzy, euphoric microdosed feeling without sending you to the moon. You could go for a jog, watch your favorite TV show, or head out to a party. Whatever floats your boat. Sol's out-of-office gummies have given me the perfect way to chill and maintain my sanity while trying to stay on top of my game and keep my anxious thoughts at bay. Sol was founded 5 years ago by brother and sister duo Mike and Angie Lee. Mike is a former world-ranked professional boxer, and Angie is an author and professional speaker who had the desire to create natural alternatives to medication that tackle problems they deal with themselves, like sleeplessness, anxiety, focus, and pain. And that's not all Sol's got. Whether you're looking for a sleep aid, enhanced focus, or pain relief, Sol has all your wellness needs covered. And Sol's products are grown right here in the USA, organically farmed and gluten-free. So give Sol a try. Head to getsol.com and use code MIDAS for 30% off your order. That's 30% off your order using code MIDAS, MEIDAS. One last time, that's getsol.com and code MIDAS for 30% off.
Yeah, things are going from bad to worse for the Trump campaign. New posts and stuff by J.D. Vance are being unearthed. Like back on February 17th of 2024, J.D. Vance was caught Google searching women and dolphin together to pull up videos of a dolphin and a woman, and I don't need to say anything more than that, but people are talking about J.D. Vance's, not just the couch stuff now, they're talking about the fact that he Googled and searched for women dolphins. I mean, how strange is that? Also, J.D. Vance literally wrote the foreword for the book written by the director of Trump's Project 2025 called Dawn's Early Light, Burning Down Washington to Save America. Just look right here. The foreword's by J.D. Vance. Donald Trump says, oh, I'm not with Project 2025. Your vice president wrote the foreword to the book by Project 2025 on how to burn down Washington, is what it says right there. I want to show you this clip right here. This is former Senator Claire McCaskill. Here's what she has to say about J.D. Vance. Let's play this clip.
And this is really extreme. This J.D. Vance. Now, keep in mind, not 20 years ago, not when he was in college, just in the last few months as a United States Senator, he voted against protecting IVF. He voted against protecting contraception, birth control. And maybe the most telling vote of all, only 28 senators voted with him. He voted to allow law enforcement to get the medical records of women in America. He thinks it's okay for the police to get medical records. That's jaw-dropping to most swing voters. Not acceptable in America.
Other video footage is being unearthed of J.D. Vance right now as well. Show you this clip right here where J.D. Vance made some horrific misogynistic remarks. He did it on a podcast hosted by a Twitter user who he follows, who calls for, quote, let's put misogynists back in the Oval Office, and says we need to stop normalizing consent. Here, take a look. You can see J.D. Vance follows this account. Here's what he said on that podcast, where the podcaster talks about stop normalizing consent and to bring back misogynists in the Oval Office. Here's what Vance said. Play the clip.
Okay, look, here's the situation. Let's say Roe versus Wade is overruled. Ohio bans abortion, in 2022 or 2024. And then, every day, George Soros sends a 747 to Columbus to load up disproportionately black women to get them to go have abortions in California. And of course, the left will celebrate this as a victory for diversity. That's kind of creepy.
Health justice is when we exterminate working class black people.
Something like that could, that would be a really weird turn of events that could happen. Yes.
And it's like, if that happens, do you need some federal response to prevent it from happening? Because it's really creepy. And, I'm pretty sympathetic to that, actually.
And so while all of this is going on, the Biden-Harris administration is just doing the hard work. As Ian Sams posted, big news from the Biden-Harris administration in just the past 24 hours. Border crossings hit their lowest levels since we took office, down 55% since the Biden-Harris executive order. Two top-tier leaders of fentanyl trafficking, Sinaloa cartel, were arrested, and that was big news as well. You have El Mayo and also El Chapo's son were arrested, which, as Jennifer Griffin says, this is the equivalent of getting bin Laden when it comes to the war against fentanyl. Biden's DOJ got the Sinaloa cartel bosses. They were lured to the U.S. thinking they were landing at a property in Mexico and nabbed near El Paso, Texas. And it's believed that actually El Chapo's son set up El Mayo and brought him to Texas, where Biden's DOJ set up the sting and arrested the top Mexican drug kingpins who were bringing in fentanyl here. So another big Biden DOJ win. While all of that is going on, you have Don Jr. and J.D. Vance did this bizarre interview. Let me show you this, and then I want to show you what Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett had to say. Here's the interview that was just released by Don Jr. We just took some of the, lowlights of it, but this was the whole thing, basically. I'll just show you a short clip. Play it.
There's some of them are like, we don't even want white women. It doesn't, we need to check 3 or 4 boxes so you can end up in if you're a trans communist, this, that, and the other, you too can be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company with no experience whatsoever. He's actually spent real time with them. Like, he's sort of, I would say he's the blue-collar billionaire. And 15 years ago when I said it, people used to shit all over me. Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you don't understand. And now they understand. What the borders are, wrote the article. It wasn't even like it was the same publication. It was the same journalist. I'm like, this you? Like, to literally save democracy, because it's literally at risk, JD. That's why I keep hearing.
Here's Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett discussing the Republican attacks on Vice President Kamala Harris. Play this clip.
When you talk about the emotions in Congress, I wonder what you make of the Republican response. I mean, House Republicans, conservatives have been calling the Vice President of the United States, quote, an unqualified DEI hire. I know you have thoughts about this.
I absolutely do. Listen, this tells you everything that you need to know about these clowns. They have nothing of substance to contribute, as they normally don't. I mean, this is exactly why we literally are supposed to be working next week, and we're not even coming to work to make sure that we can pass a budget, because they have no plan. I need the American people to wake up. They have no plan unless we start talking about Project 2025, which doesn't do anything for any of us. And one of the things that they continuously push in Project 2025 are these unwarranted attacks on anyone that is diverse in any way. And they try to pretend as if we don't have credentials. But my question is, as you continue to say that somehow J.D. Vance is prepared and qualified to be the Vice President of the United States, I'm sorry, but this guy is walking into a role with way less qualifications than our Vice President. If we want to look at the qualifications that were required of her before she got the job, she had been elected a prosecutor. She had been elected the Attorney General. She had been elected to the U.S. Senate before she was ever the Vice President. J.D. Vance has been in the Senate for not even 2 years. So what I don't want to hear from that side is about a DEI hire, because what I can tell you for sure is that this is them talking about the fact that they literally just cannot measure up to my Vice President and soon to be their President of the United States.
Yes, and while everybody's talking about, J.D. Vance and the couch rumor, which is not true. I mean, the Associated Press claims that J.D. Vance said that never happened with the couches, but it is true. The dolphins, he did search that. You can see that he searched that on Twitter, women dolphins, and I don't know why he was doing that, and he, I think, accidentally posted it. But here's the video that everybody's talking about as well, where J.D. Vance says women who haven't given birth are childless cat ladies who are miserable at their lives and are threats to this country. Play this clip.
But look, what I was basically saying is that we're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made. And so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. And it's just a basic fact. You look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children. And how does it make any sense that we've turned our country over to people who don't really have a direct stake in it? I just wanted to ask that question and propose.
So that's the state of the race right now. We will keep you updated. Oh, here's what some of the MAGA Republican influencers are saying too. Gunther Eagleman, a big right-wing MAGA influencer, says, men, don't let your wives ruin America. Make sure they are voting for President Trump. Exclamation point. That's where we're at right now as a country. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.